I'm not here to hype a kitchen gadget that looks slick on the shelf. I'm here to help you decide if the VBI Milano Redline 250 electric slicer is actually worth the space on your counter, the extra cost, and the time you'll spend learning it. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through the moments when you might reach for a slicer, the things that usually trip people up, and whether this particular model smooths those bumps or adds new ones. First, why do many home cooks hesitate before buying an electric slicer? The biggest fear is ending up with a piece of equipment that sits idle because it's either too noisy, too finicky, or simply doesn't cut the way you need. You've probably seen those countertop units on cooking shows, then imagine them in your own kitchen only to wonder if you'll actually use it beyond the occasional holiday ham. That hesitation is legitimate, especially when a slicer can cost a few $100s. The other side of the coin is the risk of buying a low-priced manual alternative that dulls quickly and leaves you scraping uneven pieces. The VBI Milano Redline 250 tries to position itself between those two extremes, a premium-looking electric unit with a built-in sharpener, but priced lower than some professional-grade models. So, who should consider this slicer? If you regularly slice meats, cheeses, or vegetables thinly and uniformly think preparing charcuterie boards, making deli-style sandwiches, or portioning baked potatoes for a family dinner, having a reliable blade that does the work for you can save time and improve presentation. The 10-inch blade on the Redline 250 is long enough to handle a standard roast or a large wheel of cheese in one pass, which is a practical advantage over smaller, handheld slicers that require multiple strokes and often produce uneven slices. If you're a hobbyist baker who likes to slice fruit thinly for tarts, or a grill enthusiast who wants perfect turkey breast slices for sandwiches, the precision you get from an electric feed can be a real time saver. Conversely, if you only need occasional thin slices, perhaps a weekend roast or a cheese platter once a month, you might find the countertop footprint and the learning curve unnecessary. The machine does require a dedicated spot near an outlet, and you'll need to keep the blade clean after each use to maintain hygiene. If kitchen space is at a premium, the unit size could become a compromise you're unwilling to make. Also, if you're comfortable with a good quality handheld mandolin, the electric slicer's extra cost may not translate into proportional value for you. Now, let's get into the practical strengths that actually show up when you plug this thing in. The first thing I noticed during a test run was how quickly the motor spins up to a steady speed. Within a few seconds, the blade was humming at a constant pace, which means you can start slicing right away without fiddling with speed settings. The built-in sharpener is a thoughtful touch. After a few dozen cuts, the blade stays crisp, and you don't have to schedule a separate sharpening service or buy a replacement blade. That contributes directly to the value proposition. Sharpness is the core of any slicer's performance, and the fact it's maintained automatically reduces long-term costs. Safety is another area where the Redline 250 seems to have thought ahead. The unit includes a handguard that slides into place once you feed the food, preventing accidental contact with the blade. There's also a lockout switch that disables the motor when the guard is opened, which is reassuring for households with kids. In a real-world scenario, I was prepping a turkey breast for a sandwich bar while my teenage daughter was helping set the table. The safety lock gave me confidence that an accidental slip wouldn't turn into a kitchen injury. Cleaning is often the hidden pain point of electric slicers. The VBI Milano's design features a removable food carriage and a drip tray that catches excess juices, which makes wiping down the work surface a quick task. The blade itself can be detached without tools, allowing you to rinse it under running water. That said, the unit does have crevices around the feed chute where tiny cheese particles can lodge, so a thorough rinse is necessary if you switch from meat to cheese in the same session. It's not a deal breaker, but it's a maintenance step you need to remember. On the downside, the motor, while steady, does generate a noticeable hum that can be heard across an open kitchen. If you're sensitive to background noise or often slice while watching TV, the sound could be a minor annoyance. The slicer also lacks variable thickness controls. You set the desired slice thickness with a single dial, but you can't fine-tune it in real time. This works fine for most standard cuts: thin, medium, thick, but if you need a very precise 0.2mm slice for a specialty recipe, you'll have to make a few test passes and adjust manually. Another practical limitation is the power cord length. The